Hello, friends and colleagues. Welcome to the Tourism Skillshop, hosted by State of Washington Tourism, SWT. My name is Matthew Ozuna, and I am the Destination Development Manager at SWT. I will introduce today's webinar on 2026 Travel Trends with GreenRubino. Please utilize the chat function in Zoom to say hello. Let us know where you are joining from today. Feel free to share your comments in the chat and use the Q&A feature as well. My colleague Marissa Petrovich is helping with the webinar. She is the Industry Relations Coordinator at SWT. Marissa and I will do our best to organize and prioritize questions from the audience and bring them to the guest speaker's attention near the end of the webinar. So welcome to the 2026 Tourism Skillshop series. This is one of a few industry educational programs from State of Washington Tourism. This webinar series will engage with colleagues across the tourism sector, broadening their industry knowledge, skills, and network. Each webinar will highlight a specific issue or skill for tourism professionals to ponder and discuss with industry experts. SWT usually hosts live webinars of the Tourism Skillshop on the third or fourth Thursday of every month from 10 to 11 a.m. Skillshop webinars are free and open to all tourism stakeholders. These webinars will also be recorded and shared with registrants as well as other users on the SWT YouTube channel. For Tourism Skillshop and other industry updates, follow SWT on LinkedIn and visit the SWT industry website, where tourism stakeholders can sign up to become industry advocates and learn more about advertising opportunities with State of Washington Tourism. So today, let's dive into today's webinar on travel trends for 2026. Having said that, 2025 was a mixed year with mixed results for the tourism sector in the United States, with a significant decline in international visitation, offset by a strong recovery in domestic travel. Though the US remains the world's largest market for travel and tourism, contributing about 2.6 trillion to its economy, the World Travel and Tourism Council projected a decrease in international visitor spending from 181 billion in 2024 to under 169 billion in 2025. Despite this, domestic leisure travel remains stable, with Americans taking approximately 1.96 billion domestic leisure trips, a 2% increase from 2024. The shift in focus from international to domestic tourism helped mitigate some of the revenue loss, although the overall economic impact of the international downturn was significant. And I'll mention that a little later in a slide or two. Now, let's learn from 2025 and look
Hey
ahead to
Matt,
the travel.
your slides
Yes.
your slides aren't showing.
Oh, that's fine. I'll get to
Okay,
them.
perfect. Okay, sweet.
So let's learn from 2025 and look ahead to the travel trends shaping 2026. These trends reflect shifting traveler values, technological advancements, cultural influences, and sustainability priorities. Research and data from hotel groups and travel firms and thought leaders suggest that 2026 will be the year of quiet escapes, algorithm-shaped itineraries, ultra-personalized retreats, and a return to slower, more intentional travel. Guest speakers today are Tracy Rabsky and Althea Conyers Achem from GreenRubino, a marketing and PR agency based in Seattle. They will share industry insights and examples with webinar attendees today, helping tourism stakeholders attract visitors and stay competitive this year. With over 17 years of expertise in public relations, Tracy began her career in New York before moving to Seattle. She specializes in travel and tourism PR, consumer activations, and media relations, driving impactful campaigns and creating lasting connections between brands and audiences. Tracy, thanks for joining us again. And Althea came to Seattle from Chicago after honing her PR skills in business and politics. She has a knack for developing and executing strategies to increase community and brand awareness for her clients. At GreenRubino, her clients have included State of Washington Tourism, Major League Baseball, the All-Star Week, Lakedale, and Seattle South Side. So, Althea, it's always good to see you again. Thank you for being here. All right, folks, let me share a few of my slides before we kind of dive into the specific travel trends. I just want to give folks better context of what 2025 looked like on the US side, but also internationally. And then we can turn it over to Althea and Tracy. So let me start from the top. Okay, Marissa, can you see my slides now?
No, not yet.
Oh, maybe that's because I'm not sharing my screen.
There you go. It's opening up.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, folks, oops, one slide too many. Like I said earlier, US travel was mixed for us, not so for international visitation around the world. Having said that, the US reached a few record highs, or one record high with passenger screening in airports. Hotel demand remains steady, and national parks saw a decrease in visitation. I mentioned that last point because I'm curious to see what an increase in visitation for national parks might look like going into 2026 with America 250. So pay close attention on park visitation this year. While the US struggled with international visitation, the rest of the world did not. We saw huge surges in Japan, France, and Spain. The US was down about 5.4% with visitation here. Mexico, for the first time, surpassed Canada. We actually had a webinar on Canadian visitation last year. We'll see if the Canadian travelers bounce back in 2026, especially with FIFA in Vancouver and Seattle. But like I said earlier, international travel was up 4% in 2025. This is good for the rest of the world, record highs to date. Again, we're looking at global economic conditions that favor international tourism, uh, and we're keeping an eye on inflation and other geopolitical conflicts around the world. And this is my last slide from tourism economics. We'll see a little bit of a slowdown in global GDP, but we'll also see an uptick in international arrivals. So from 5% in 2025 up to 8 is what tourism economic has forecasted this year. I'm going to stop. I just wanted to give a brief overview before I turned it over to Althea and Tracy. And ladies, take it away.
So the first, we're going to move into the general travel trends. The first one we're going to talk about is whycations. So this has kind of been a theme for a couple years now, and they keep kind of changing what the name is. But it's really just that where travelers are looking to connect and have trips with meaning. They're not just looking to have a packed itinerary with a list of things to do, and it's not really something that they're connecting to. So they really want to have experiences that with align with how they want to feel, if they want to be rested or connected or inspired. So this is just a great trend. I think it really helps with everyone in the state. I think we have something to offer that really can make people feel connected to where they are. But the report that we found, they found that travelers are really prioritizing calm, culture, and connection. So just really looking for brands that are delivering comfort and authenticity. So yeah, so I think this is an awesome one. And I think it really is great for our state.
Oh no, your slide deck froze. Okay, let's try this now. Go ahead, Tracy.
Okay. So I know Matthew kind of hinted earlier, obviously with FIFA World Cup coming up, but this trend is fan voyage. Sports travel is just booming right now. And fans, it kind of goes back to whycation. People that are coming for sports, they're also looking to connect with the local community that they're staying at. And also, Gen Z and millennials are really driving this. If they're going to be traveling, they want to find a local sporting event. So I think this is a great opportunity. We listed all the fan zones, and I'm sure you guys are all aware where they are in your state. But we just think that there's so many great opportunities, and everyone's prepping for this. But people are really looking to blend cultural tourism with the thrill of local sports. The USA road trip. So this is a trend again. It's been a couple of years now. Obviously, with the economy and things going on, people are looking more for domestic travel and just kind of road trips in general. Also, with the 250th anniversary in July, people are predicting that this is going to be a really big deal, that people are going to just want to get on the road and travel and see different things. 71% of Americans from this study actually said that they plan to drive on their next vacation and that they're favoring road trips because it's spontaneity and they don't have to worry about flight delays and just going to the airport and everything like that. So, again, our state, we're near very major highways and there's a lot of great road trips to take. So we're really excited for this one as well.
Yeah, I see a lot of promise here too with scenic byways around our state. And the 100th year anniversary, Route 66. Oh, Althea, you're back. Let's see if we can hear you. Oh,
Oh, it's muted. I'll just keep going.
keep going.
So this trend is the altitude shift. People are looking to travel to mountain areas. It's not just for skiing, but also for serenity. People want that view, that beautiful, gorgeous mountain in their window. The room with a mountain view filter has actually gone up 103% from hotel bookings this year. So again, I think it goes back to just the serene, calm, connecting. It's all kind of similar themes together, but people are really considering mountain escapes for, all types of times of the year. And obviously there's so many great mountains and beautiful settings in our state. So we can definitely capture this one as well. So this one is the Hotel Boutique Looks Local. So hotel boutiques are really taking in their communities. They're showcasing local artists and heritage crafts. A lot of places are having little pop-ups for the community. And I think it's really, really awesome. I think it just connects people to, if it's a hotel, it makes it feel local and really brings in the local artists. So this really matters because, as with globalization and crafts and local areas becoming at risk to going away and everything's the same, hotels are really emerging as those cultural stewards to partner with these artisans and really help to preserve some local heritage. And this is also meeting that demand again for that whycation, the authentic, meaningful experience. So when people are traveling here and they're only here for a soccer game, but they're at their hotel and they're able to at least see some of the local art or artisans in the community, it really connects. And so I think that's a great opportunity for destinations as well.
Now we're ready for family travel, Tracy?
Yes, Althea was going to take this one. Althea, can you talk or?
Yeah, we're trying to get her phone to work. Marissa's trying to kind of work our back channels.
It's okay. I can take that one. No problem.
See. I'm trying to let's get you back to current slide.
Great. Okay, kid fluence. So this is a fun one. So Generation Alpha, they are the new targeted audience you should be thinking about because they are tiny tastemakers that are shaping where families go next. With I have children. I know Althea was going to share this as well, but a lot of our vacations are probably catered to what our children are saying they want to go and where they want to go. So 87% of parents saying their kids help choose and plan their trip. And so obviously there's some screen time inspiration there and curiosity and creativity, but they are bringing some fresh ideas to the family itinerary. So this is just, again, a great opportunity for, properties around the state and destinations to start thinking about what could a kid be interested in really getting in on some of those trends because family travel is really getting a fun next generation upgrade. So this trend is family miles. So this is multi-generational travel theme. It's been around for a few years and it kind of just changes a little bit each year, but it's not going anywhere. People are traveling with their families, with grandparents and with their children. It's not just to share costs, but it's also to reclaim time together. I know I do it a lot. I think it's great, like to have the different generations on your trip. And so I think it's obviously a very big deal to make sure that you're offering something for everyone. 40% of Gen Z adults are saying that they are saving money or travel costs because they're traveling with family. And so this is a big deal with as the Gen Z generation is getting a little bit older, but they're still traveling with their families. And then now, millennials with their kids. So there's a great opportunity, again, when you have something for everyone. And this trend is wellness trips will be a family affair. So wellness has been a big deal, obviously, for adults. And obviously, I know there's been a lot of like women wellness trips. But now this is kind of a family thing. They're offering spas aren't tapping into this young market. I think it kind of goes back to that kidfluence. Like they're probably seeing things on TikTok about spas and then they want to join. So there's definitely some great opportunities. Spas, for example, are offering programming aimed at young ones and teens and multi-generational travel. So it's just something fun to think about. Any health-minded activities for families that they can do in general. Some of them here are like memory games and animal flow yoga or a DJ fit night. Also, there's young adult specific spa menus. Just it's nice again that if you're going to be traveling, you don't have to give up. That if the adult wanted to do some, wellness, that they can also bring their children along. Food
Food
and
and
beverage.
beverage. All right.
Yes, foodies will travel for food. This is me. I definitely travel to make sure I want to know if there's good food and good restaurants. That's definitely a big decision factor when I am going somewhere. And so this is not just me, it's everyone. This local cuisine isn't just part of the travel experience, it's the main event. Half of travelers are actually booking restaurant reservations before they book their flights. And nearly 1 in 5 are looking to experience some type of restaurant or cuisine as part of their travel. So this is obviously a great opportunity to build travel experiences around food discovery. I know so many of you guys in the state do this already and just really highlighting what's unique to your area. But whether it's highlighting a super famous chef that you love or any pop-up restaurants we could do or behind the scene kitchen tours, this is really just great. Again, to showcase the local cuisine. And this is really allowing people to foodies are shaping hospitality trends and people are really looking for that locally rooted, story-driven dining. So it's a great opportunity to get into press and things like that.
And I like this one. This was very forward thinking. I mean, with the times that you and Althea found.
Yes. GLP-1 impact on dining. So definitely a 2026 thing to think about. I know for the past couple of years it's been zero proof cocktails. And so now I feel like this is the next iteration of what's trending. But around 10% of Americans are now on some form of weight loss drug. And so restaurants are starting to rethink menus. There's always been oversized meals in a lot of places, and it's always been about bigger, bigger, bigger. And now I think people, if they're not eating like that as much, they're offering more a la carte items or smaller portions for, different appetites. So this is just an example, but there was a restaurant in New York City that shared that they're selling single meatballs as part of their menu. And then another one has a specific GLP wonderful menu. So again, this is just a trend that's interesting to think about that. I just think it's similar to zero proof. It's just catering to many different types of people, and not everyone is looking for an oversized entree. So we need to start thinking about, are there a la carte options for some people or smaller portions?
Wellness.
Wellness.
You can hear me. I have to
No,
hear me. Okay.
no.
I
No,
apologize.
sorry, Althea. I mean, if you in the special link that I gave you, if there's not a call, there's not a call. Oh, dang it. Okay, well, we'll try to wait. Maybe if you can come in at the end when we take questions from the audience. If you come in as just a regular participant, we can unmute you and then you can speak. I think you can call in that way. Okay, Tracy, take it away.
Great. Little treat travel. So this is a new trend that's really representing a global shift towards more spontaneous self-care travel. Gen Z is really driving this, where they're just, instead of waiting for this big trip that they want to, do something really special, they're booking quick getaways just to boost their mind and get out for a couple days. 65% of travelers now are looking for this, and I love this. They're calling it Meekins, which are short and entirely guilt-free. Again, I think we have so many great, destinations around the state that offer this, that you just can go for a quick getaway and gorgeous settings and just really disconnect from everything. This trend, be quiet. So this is kind of another iteration from, I think last year it was called sleepcations. So it's also quietcations or hospitality, but really just, again, focusing on kind of disconnecting from everyday modern life and just, focusing on comfort and silence and just escaping from the norm. It really helps with, a lot of hotels might take your phone away. I think, I don't know if you guys saw White Lotus last season, but like that was one of those properties. But like that's been a big trend. But it's really just trying to get away from everything and just really connect with yourself. I think this is great. I think it's kind of like the Whycation. Again, they're all similar, but again, it lends itself really well to our state specifically.
I agree, Tracy. I think, when I think of remote parts of Washington State and its beauty, its natural wonder, would be a great place to disconnect from the world and just kind of be present in nature. So hopefully folks can capitalize on this trend.
Great. This trend, let's hear it for the girls. So I kind of mentioned this earlier about women's wellness. It's been it's been gaining popularity for a few years now, but it's more and more about different stages of your life. So they really want to support health through every stage. Spas are expanding offerings, whether it's holistic care, balance, or personalized restoration. People are seeking that wellness space and in a group setting. Everything from fertility and pregnancy to stress and menopause. Women are going on these group trips, and I think just having more offerings if you're a hotel or if you're a destination, that things people can do just to help support each other through different wellness periods in your life. Mindful hobbies. So this one is a fun one. Blue Zone has research that shared that having a passion helps us find purpose. And a key is not just living a longer life, but a happier, healthier life. And so people are really looking to explore personal hobbies while traveling. I think Althea shared this to me like last week called granny hobbies, which I kind of love. But for many years, when you travel and you want to do some type of activity, it's usually sport like surfing or skiing or tennis or golf. But now people are really looking for those low key hobbies that are forcing us to slow down. Again, tying it back to Whycation and hospitality, they're similar. So people want to do things, whether it's gardening or sewing or beginning focused spa retreats, hiking, trailside painting, just really stuff that makes you, again, appreciate your surroundings, just enjoy yourself, do something that you like to do at home anyway, low key, and bring it while you're traveling. So I really think this is a great one. Oh, great. Althea, you want to see if you can talk? Oh, she's muted still.
Let me see if I can unmute you, Althea.
So I'm on my phone. That's why I was trying to. You can hear me?
Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. Hopefully I can now participate a little bit. And I'll jump in here and share social trends. So rose-colored glasses, it's 2026. Why is 2016 trending? This is a very interesting social trend that we are seeing, where TikTok is really seeing searches for 2016 surging, and people doing kind of like throwback Thursdays, that kind of thing, to content that either looks like it's from 2016 or is actually from 2016. So whether that's through filters named after the year, people going back, like hotels, for example, finding photos or images from 2016 and posting that, people doing throwbacks to high school, college, even businesses doing like, here was our 2016 Chris holiday party type of post. So this is an interesting nostalgic piece that we're seeing across social media spaces. It's general pop culture, but looking again at how a destination, a hotel, how your business can kind of jump in and participate in these trends. This is a kind of a fun one that you could potentially do. The other thing that we have talked about in the past, and we continue to talk about, is micro and nano influencers. And we are seeing them really more and more taking the lead. We are seeing that, again, when we're looking for authentic content and people who really have an engaged audience, these are the influencers, the content creators that we're seeing really having that connection with their audiences, giving you a great like sneak peek of, here's my itinerary in Walla Walla, Kara, or wherever they may be, and sharing that experience through that. And it's going to continue. People are still really looking for that authentic message, and they really want to be able to say, like, oh, I saw Tracy went here. I saw so-and-so here. I want to follow that itinerary. I want to go to that coffee shop. So having that authentic connection is still super, super important for all brands right now. So kind of what now? We're going back up to kind of where I began. So those of you that maybe couldn't hear me, hopefully you can hear me better now, and we'll kind of recap that a little bit of what to think about now that we've talked about the trends. Now we've talked about them. What do you do with this information? So again, identifying your trend to brand alignment. How is your brand authentically aligned with one of these trends? I think it's important to look at that authentic piece because you do want it to make sense for your brand to fit in and not try to shove it in where maybe it's not as much of a fit. But where do you really authentically fall into any of these trends? Really take a look at that. Matt, you can go to the net. You can pop up the whole slide actually, if you want to. I don't think we maybe realized it was all coming as we.
Yeah, and
So you can just click through so it's all.
Yeah, and it freezes on me. So we're having technical glitches all over today. So I'm sorry. Let's see here.
All kinds of
Okay,
all kinds of technical difficulties.
So I have to go. Oh no, let's see if it works now. Okay, now it works.
There we go. So again, we kind of talked about identifying spokespeople. So really evaluate, with your team, leverage your internal talent, get everybody together in your team within your destination, and really ideate, build, execute, what programming could make sense? What do you have that could make sense for a trend? Do you have a local business within your destination? Do you have a hotel within your destination, or are you a hotel that could fit into these things? Do you have a chef that could lean into any of the food travel pieces? Do you have somebody that can speak to, the 250th anniversary of the United States, while Washington is not quite that old, but how or where does it make sense? So really getting your internal team to think about those things together is really important. So bringing your team together, review the trends and ideate and come up with ideas together, getting your experts in the same room, and then execute. Obviously, we've done all of this. Now it's time to execute. So if it's a programming piece or that kind of thing, do you need to know what your pricing is, who those spokesperson is, if it's necessary to put someone forward or to include a quote, if it's in a pitch or a press release, or is it for social media channels where you also, though, might be kind of doing like little snippet interviews with individual people, identifying who those people can be. So really looking and leaning into the execution. So again, identify, leveraging your internal team, come up with some great ideas, really get everybody on board and review those emerging trends and what makes sense for your brand, and then set forth and put it in place.
Excellent. Okay,
yeah,
ladies,
discussion.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I'm glad
Absolutely.
your audio was able to come back on. Althea, I know folks really want to talk to you. You as well, Tracy. We'll put all of the trends. I'm going to click, 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 and make sure they're all here. And then I believe we have a poll just to get the conversation started. Is there one more? Oh, so I need to go back. Okay. So let me see if I can launch this poll just to see where folks in Washington are with these trends and their destinations. All right. So the poll is up, folks. Go ahead, take a look at the trends again. Tell us where you think you'll have the most impact with these travel trends in your destination. In the meantime, Tracy and Althea, I really liked the food slide with the GLP-1. I think that's going to kind of not only an effect on travel, but just kind of lifestyle in general with gym memberships and clothing and you name it. Is there anything else on these trends that surprised you this year?
For us?
Yeah, Tracy or Althea.
That's great. I think we're.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Thought the road trip. I thought the road trip, given America 250, Route 66. Kind of felt that one, is ripe. I think that's going to be a big one going forward. Luxury travel, I kind of heard that luxury travel and budget travel are kind of doing well. It's that mid section that's kind of being squeezed. That might be an issue for folks this year.
Yeah, I think the other piece that stood out to me, and this was a slide that, again, Tracy presented, that I would have made this comment maybe even earlier, which is the kid fluence. I think this is a demographic that, especially in public relations, but also in marketing, we don't really consider as much in terms of how are you really reaching that very young audience that really is influencing what their parents or grandparents are choosing to be doing for a vacation. I mean, I think everybody's asking their kids, like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, how does this look? And sometimes kids are even bringing this to us, right, as well. So it's just an interesting demographic that I think, because of social media, because of these things being more readily available to a very young audience, it's something to really consider when you're thinking about who is my audience and who am I marketing, who is my, targeting.
For sure.
And I just want to mention there's a couple slides that I think we didn't go through, but I could just quickly talk. So if people want to hear, Daycations was specific. More people are looking for thrilling experiences when they travel and, doing something that maybe that was on their bucket list or things like that. But that's definitely a trend. Bookbound, and Althea, you can jump into about these trends, but bookbound is people are traveling literary. Is that's Althea, you knew that one better than me.
Yep. Yeah, no, the bookbound, this is a similar trend that we've noticed in previous years, but people really in 2026 are still seeking out vacations based on literature, whether it's tracking the footsteps of a fictional character or planning like a slow holiday around a reading retreat. It really is the idea of like anything around literature, even chasing like bookshops, that kind of thing, libraries. But a literature escape is really something that continues to be a trend that we see for 2026.
And then for meetings, we also had that people are looking to connect in real life during meetings and get off virtual. So that is something that I know is kind of a trend. And then obviously with AI and everything, just what does that look like, the future of technology in meetings?
Yeah, I think just to add to the meetings, when we say connecting in place too, or like retreats, resort style properties, unique venues, so that people can have those authentic connections with each other and the destination that the meetings are being held in. So people are just wanting to have like time to explore the destination even, or off sites, right? Not just spending their whole time in a meeting room, but how do we get to explore the destination as part of that?
I think that's very important, sense of place outside of the meeting rooms or conference center. Panelists, can you see the poll results? Can everyone else see those, Marissa? Or should I just rattle them out loud?
I cannot see them.
Okay. Well, looks like according to 70% of our participants today, Whycations takes the lead. Which of these travel trends resonate the most in your destination in Washington State? Whycations at 38%, sports fan voyage at 29%, the road trip at oh wow, it just bumped up. So the road trip now is at 44%. So that takes the top spot. Whycations in second, sports fan voyage third, attitude shift 15, hotel boutique hotels, that looks like it's at 15, and Daycations at 4%. Oh, meetings at 19. Okay, there's a good mix here. There's a healthy mix, family. I mean, so it's a good mix as I scroll down, but it looks like the road trip is the front winner for sure. Foodies is up there again with 29, wellness trips at 37. So yeah, it's a good spread. Okay,
Mhm.
folks, we've had a time on this first webinar of the year. We're going to open it up for questions. I'm going to end this poll. Marissa, why don't you unmute yourself and let us know how we're doing in the chat or the Q&A?
Yeah, I have a Q&A question that I can pose, and if anyone wants to throw any more questions in the Q&A, feel free to, or you can put them in the chat and I'll read them off. So I will kick us off. Adam asks, when it comes to beer and wine, have you seen trends within that space other than zero proof trips, or maybe an incorporation of more to do than drink?
The short answer is yes. More to do than drink is going to be important, even if beer and wine focused itineraries are a thing. So looking at exploring the destination beyond tasting rooms for sure should be something to think about and consider for that piece. NA or mocktail does continue to be a trend and something that we continue to see. So for hotels or restaurants anywhere with menus, really thinking about that of having thoughtful, beyond a Shirley Temple. While I love a Shirley Temple, and that has actually had its moment as well. And I even as an adult love a Shirley Temple, and there's the dirty Shirley Temple. But anyway, but thinking of a thoughtfully curated items on your menus for those are going to continue to be a thing. What we're seeing more, and Tracy jumped into beyond beer and wine, is more cocktail type trends. Martinis are having a moment. We know, especially with garnishes and things like that, are becoming, really looking at those pieces. But I think in terms of wine and beer in particular, yes, really looking at the education behind those, but also information or experiences beyond the tasting rooms.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've got a couple other questions that have come in. This one is anonymous, and it is, could you give a few insights into how these trends might affect travel related to World Cup?
So I don't know if the trends themselves are going to impact the travel of World Cup. I mean, I think we're going to just see the road trip, though, the fan voyage. I think people really are looking to travel. I can't remember the number that was just shared, but I want to say it was some astronomical number that FIFA had reported receiving the request for tickets.
500 million tickets.
500 million tickets have been requested. And so that process still has to take place. And I think once those tickets then are actually approved, whatever that correct word is, that we will then start seeing the increase in people actually booking their travel for once they have those tickets purchased. I think what's interesting about that, though, is obviously Seattle is where it's taking place. We have the fan zones across the state, but also I think people are going to be interested in, yes, I'm coming to Seattle for the game, but then what am I going to do, the few days before, the days after? So traveling around the state, experiencing other places. I think that's the piece that we could see some interesting things potentially.
Go ahead,
And then
Tracy.
I think that some of the trends that go with that would be whycation. People want to connect with culture. The hotel boutique, like
Exactly.
I said, if there's a hotel that's offering local things, they feel like they're part of the community. Altitude shift, people might want to see mountains. So I think all of them kind of go together if they're here as part of FIFA.
Yes, and that kind of goes without saying that, if we assume that these folks love sports and they don't let sports get involved with politics. There's a separation. If there's a war over Greenland or some other kind of geopolitical catastrophe, who knows what would happen. But we assume these folks are coming for sport. If they like other things like nature, if they like local, great. If not, if it's just sports and that's it, well, so be it. So yeah, I can't wait to see how that looks, especially in accommodation and activities in Seattle and other fan zones. Anything else, Marissa?
Yeah, I'll tack this question on, and then we have one more after this too that came in. Any trips on marketing to Canadian travelers?
So I know
Yeah.
some people probably on this call probably were part of it, but I know last year there was like promotions specifically targeted to Canadians and saying you're welcome here, come. So I think that might have been successful. I know for some of the properties and destinations that we worked with. Um, we've also had a lot of for us, media, like traditional media, have been hard because, if they have a big audience and centered in Canada, they might get backlash if they're writing about coming. But we have had some success with influencers and content creators who, maybe they're not getting that backlash or it's their own channel versus like a bigger, publisher. And so even getting some influencers to market to their audience has been helpful as well. Althea, I don't know if you had anything else.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think that's exactly, and for public relations in particular, that's what we have seen.
Awesome. All right. This one is a little bit more broad. Any recommendations for best practices to follow for social trends or any local trendy moments?
I think the number one thing is like don't do it if it doesn't make sense. Don't try to fit like a circle in a square peg. It's not authentic and it comes across bad. But if something that's what kind of Althea was recapping, if there's something that's really aligned that would be easy for you to execute, then move forward doing it. And so I think that's why a lot of you guys are gravitating towards vacation and road trips. Like that makes sense because again, you guys have such amazing places all over the state and a great connection to, culture and nature. And I think it's just perfect. But same thing with social, like if it doesn't make sense, don't do it. But, 2016, if you can do something quickly, you don't want to do it something, if something's trending and it's like gone, you don't want to be the one who's doing it like 2 months later. And it's like, oh, sorry, that was in January and now it's March. So again, if you can execute quickly, social is one of those that like it's hyper trends. They go so quickly. So you just want to be careful that it's a fit for you guys.
Awesome. All right. This one kind of actually goes along with that social trend. The question is, what platforms or resources do you use to find your nano and micro influencers and content creators? What kind of things do you look for when it comes to ROI?
So I can tap into this. So first, ROI is going to be different for everyone depending on what your goals and objectives are for having the influencer visit, whether your destination, a hotel, a restaurant, etc. So you're going to have to first determine what is my goal, who am I trying to target, what type of content am I looking for, etc. So in terms, you really need to kind of set some of those first and foremost, and then find a creator that fits those goals that you're looking for. So if you're looking for if Portland is your target audience, look for a creator that's in Portland. We do have some tools that we use to help us like identify people, but also see engagement rates and who their audience is. But for those of you that don't have that, frankly, looking up and just using Instagram and looking at hashtags, following a hashtag, looking at Portland, you usually can see somebody's location within their bio of their Instagram page. So looking at those to find that person. And the engagement piece without a tool is somewhat harder to look at, but you can get a good idea of that too, just looking at how many likes and comments, people are getting on their pages. So follower count, and I will talk about that just slightly because follower count is great, but as we just talked about, it's not the only number or thing to look at, but is the follower count, do they have engagement on their page? Is their content somewhat a regular cadence? Is it the aesthetic that matches our brand and what they're talking about, matching our brand as well? So starting with those goals is really going to help you then determine all of those other factors and who's the best fit for you.
Awesome. All right. Right now it looks like that is all of our questions that we have. So yeah, Matt, I don't know if you had any questions to pose too.
No, I think just technology is advancing so quickly with AI and apps and other websites that can kind of take video and photos and kind of manipulate them, and it can become false representations of a destination. And so I feel like there's a more pressure on destination professionals to kind of um, do reality checks and imagery checks and video checks and content audits, and just to kind of separate the fact from the fiction. Tracy and Althea, do you have any advice when it comes to that? Can you use AI to kind of help distinguish fact from fiction in the workplace?
I I think that's a great question. I think we're all still learning a little bit to some extent, but I think the imagery is a really good call out for destinations to do a little bit of that audit on that. And I think too, I will say this: AI generated content, I don't think it's going anywhere, right? Like it's going to continue to be a thing. But I think that's why, as it relates to like social media or PR in terms of working with media, it's about still making those personal connections with those individuals so that they can tell authentic stories to places that they have actually been to, where they have actually taken the photography themselves, or maybe using imagery that you have provided versus, just pulling from something from the internet. So I think still looking for those authentic storytelling opportunities is going to continue to be really important, even though the AI generated content is still going to be out there. It's not going anywhere, but I think that's the way to kind of ensure that your story is being still told in the way that makes sense for your brand, is to figure out ways authentically. Again, I'm going to use that word over and over again, how to work with those creators or those PR or those media professionals, the journalists, to do that.
Yeah, I think at some point it's just you just have to start cranking out more and more factual content and just kind of overload
Mm-hmm.
the internet with your message as opposed to anything from other users. So cool, thank you for that. I think, I'm looking forward to see how AI evolves in another year or two, or if there's a bubble burst in the next year or two or three. We shall see. Anything else, Marissa, before we sign off today?
No other questions right now.
Okay, folks, thank you for your patience. We'll work on the technical glitches for next month. Stay tuned for the next skill shop in February. More information on that in the February newsletter. And Althea and Tracy, if you can stay on for another minute or two, that would be great. Take care, everyone.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Bye.